Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Let's change this chat filter. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everybody. Just had to get my armor on real quick. And, of course, we have Trollsbane with us right here. All right, guys. So y'all know the usual drill. We're going to wait around, see how many people's going to show up in about 5 minutes, and then we're going to start the show. Got a couple bottles sitting here for a good scald. So let's go on ahead and get this show on the road, shall we? Whoa, watch out, Shuck. Try not to run into you, baby boy. So yeah, guys, how are y'all doing tonight? Welcome in, everybody. Hello, go to the Bible. What's up? Hello, sweet country. What's up, KK? How's everyone doing? Make sure that this is the way it's supposed to be. There we go. That's better. How's everybody doing? What's up, man? How you doing, Raymond? Welcome into the chat, everybody. Remember, every 5 likes, we do a scald. So let's see how many likes we can get tonight. What's up? What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? You know, hopefully everybody's doing great. Tonight's topic is going to be a little different. You know, there's some serious things to discuss right now. And it's mainly about an ideology that's going around that, honestly, guys, I believe is a little dangerous. And that's, let's talk about this victimhood mentality. There's my baby. You know, so that's going to be our topic for tonight, is the victimhood mentality that's going on all around the world right now, where everybody wants to claim the victim and nobody wants to be able to sit there and go, yeah, I messed up. You didn't get the notifications. Thank you, though, that you saw that I was live, brother. All right, guys, we got a few people in here. We got three likes up there so far. We got 5 new people watching. If you would, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Come on back for a little bit, and let's go on ahead and have a good conversation, everybody. Jump on into the chat. You know, let me know what y'all are going to think down below. Yeah, I don't know why it's not sending out my notifications anymore, guys. So I do apologize. That's not anything I can control. I'm going to go on ahead and get a hold of YouTube over that. But, guys, what the heck are we doing? What? Like, are we really letting a generation below, 2 generations below us, bully us into a new way of thinking, bully us into a new way of life? You know, are we really going to let this happen? Are we going to let iPad kids destroy school? Are we going to let, you know, Karens run wild in the street? Are we going to really let non-binary people think that they can't be arrested? You know, these are all questions we're going to ask tonight. I'm doing great. I know. I don't get it, man. I'll make sure that we try to find a way to get these notifications going out. But yeah, YouTube definitely needs to fix all those things. My Jin Jin's still here. There's my beautiful Jin Jin. She's relaxing right now. All right, everybody. So let's get into this. You know, we've got 2 generations, Generation Alpha and Generation Z. All right, guys, Generation Z's grown up. Generation Alpha is their spawn. And guys, the victimhood mentality that is going on right now is ridiculous. All right. First off, when a cop pulls you over, you're not a victim. You did something wrong. You're only a victim if that cop pulls you over and assaults you. Not if he pulls you over, tells you to get out of your vehicle 9 times, and then when you refuse and try to fight him, that's not police brutality. If you start out doing something dumb, that's a cop doing his job. All right, guys? He's got to take you down. All right? That doesn't mean he's got to kill you, but he's going to take you to the ground. And the dumber you act, the more force he's going to show. So this whole resist arrest no matter what, this has got to stop. And then when you get arrested, you're sitting there like, oh, I'm the victim. I'm the victim. You're just a white cop, or you're just a pig cop. Guys, this isn't right. Our police officers need our support. Our first responders need our support. They don't need our mistreatment. They don't need our hatred, for sure. Yeah, I got you too. But why are you sad there, Raymond? But anyway, guys, this whole, victimhood that's going on. Woe is me. Oh, well, the school is failing my kid. I'm not making sure my kid does his homework, or not, anything like that. Guys, there's so many examples. It's almost mind-boggling. It's hard to put it all together. In fact, I'm actually going to sit down here, guys, and I'm going to talk to y'all heart to heart. All right. Let's get on a good level here. All right, everybody. Lost and found. Did you not call the Lumberton cops that arrested your friend Wayne a couple of weeks ago? No, I didn't call them. I didn't call them. I didn't do anything about it. You want to know why? Because that's Wayne's problem to deal with, not mine. That is his legal matters to deal with, not mine. So, no, I didn't call them. I didn't harass them for doing their job or anything like that. Guys, what got Wayne was he had the keys in the ignition and the car turned on. So he got hit with intent to drive. So, yeah, that's why he got a DUI. And I'm not going to harass them for doing their jobs right, guys. And to be fair, I don't expect anyone else to either. Guys, to be honest, cops are just trying to do their jobs, guys, and we're giving them a bad rep. All right. And it's not just cops that are bugging me, guys. This whole problem with teachers, people are blaming the educator, not blaming the children. A lot of haters because of being a corrections officer. Yeah, I get what you mean. There's my Jen. I'm so sorry, sweet country. You're all good. But no, we have this whole situation going on right now where I've seen, I don't know how many body cam videos where cops go to arrest somebody and they're like, but I'm a girl, but I'm black, but I'm non-binary, but you scare me. And I'm just like, what? What is your problem? A gangbanger doesn't scare you, but a cop does? That's never right. There's going to be a thunderstorm tonight. I got you there, Raymond. I'm sorry to hear that. But that's never right to sit there and use this victim mentality, to turn around and be like, oh, well, you're a cop, or, oh, well, you're a teacher, you should be doing better with my kid. Maybe you should actually sit down and sit with your kid and figure out what the problem with your kid is. Maybe you should sit back and look at the alarming rate that is going on of educators leaving their positions. Guys, it's happened in alarming rates. Houston, Texas is one of the highest problems. I'm bitching about my own state right now. And yes, I'm bitching, guys, and excuse me. But as I'm going along through these times, I'm going along and I'm watching how our country is acting versus the rest of the world. Guys, wake up. We are literally acting like hooligans. We're acting like a bunch of degenerates. We're acting like a bunch of idiots. Wake up and start making America great. Wake up and start being an American. Quit being these ideologies that bring about problems. Quit thinking that just because you're of a different ethnic race, you should be treated differently. We all should be treated the same. I'm tired of hearing this, oh, woe is me mentality. Oh, I got arrested for, a DUI when it wasn't my fault. No, if you got arrested for a DUI, it was more than likely 100% your fault. There was a 9.9999999% chance you did something wrong. And that little itty bitty 0.000000001%, guys, that don't happen as much as you think it does. And to sit back and claim, oh, I'm a victim, I should be compensated. Or to sit back and be like, oh, I'm divorcing this man and I claim everything he has, but these kids ain't his. And I'm going to wait until I get this divorce to tell him the kids ain't his, but good, congratulations, you get to pay child support. Guys, what the ever-loving F word are we doing? What is it that is driving us to this insanity, guys? What is it that is bringing us to, this level of crazy? Guys, I'm nuts, but I'm seeing some stupidity. The stupidity is palatable, all right? And what's really getting on my nerves and what's really actually bugging me, what I've been sitting here and reading and researching, is that people think it's other people's fault. They cannot take accountability. There is no such thing as accountability anymore. You know who's taking accountability for their actions? The teachers. You know who's taking accountability for their actions? The first responders. You know who's taking accountability for their actions? The military. Those are who are taking accountability. Us normal citizens, like me, you, everybody else out here, no, we'd rather sit here and play a victim. No, I'm not saying that everybody in my chat does that. I know they don't. And some of us here have been the victim of violent crimes. But I'm telling you right now, if we don't stop this, and this is coming from a very, very honest point of view, from looking at history, the weak get conquered. If we let these new generations grow up with this mentality where they can't read, where they can't write, where they can't handle a little bit of stress, they want to get violent, but they only want to get violent towards their own kind. And what I mean by that is they only want to get violent towards adults. They don't want to they get violent with each other. They get violent with adults. They get violent with everything around them. The only thing they don't get violent with is their iPads. And that's where these term iPad kids are coming from. You've got these kids that are sitting there that are schooled and taught and babysat on iPads. And this has led to an absolute dependence on that piece of machinery. Guys, that's just a freaking piece of computer chips. That's all that is. There's nothing else to that. All right? There's barely anything there. But yet these kids, some of them really honestly think the only thing that cares about them is their TikTok family or their YouTube family or their community in Roblox. They really think their parents don't care about them. They really think that they have apathy for everything. There's an apathy for wanting to learn. They really would rather just go be a YouTuber. I've talked with kids in my family. They're like, nah, I don't want to be a police officer or a soldier when I grow up. I want to be a slime maker on YouTube, or I want to be a beta game protester, or I want to be one of them even sat there, and this broke my heart because this is one of the brightest kids I know. I want to be, and I can't believe I'm saying this, they literally told me they wanted to be a social justice warrior as a permanent profession. That's their goal in life, is to be a social justice warrior. All right, hang on. I almost got arrested last year at the homeless shelter. Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that. Happens a lot in the prisons. If we have to use force on a different race, we are being questioned all the time if it was a race thing. To me, there is no race, just a different skin tone or color. Exactly. There is no race. There's just different colors to our skin to handle the amount of sunlight. What's up, Shay? And when it comes down to it, you're looking at things from a biological perspective. You're looking at things from a scientific perspective. And what I'm telling you right now, from a simple analytical perspective on this whole situation, is that kids and the generation below me have gone nuts. And you want to know why? Because we failed them. We millennials failed the generation below us. So Gen Z and Gen Alpha have came out to be little monsters and little hooligans who are going to blame everybody else but themselves. They were raised to, so what? You got spanked when you were a kid. Does that mean that you got the right to turn around and create an entire generation of people that, yes, I'm wearing armor, but you have an entire generation of people that literally come out thinking that they can say and do whatever they want. Yes, you can, to a degree. When you're in school, when you're in a job or something like that, you sit down, you pay attention, and you do your work. You don't sit there and run your mouth. You don't tell the teacher, I'm the alpha now. Like, I literally watched a video where a kid was getting reprimanded, and he looked at his teacher and goes, this punishment shit has to stop. I'm the alpha. You listen to me. Guys, this is a 7th grade-year-old kid, and he can't even read, and he expects a professional with a degree to listen to his I can't even perform phonics ass. Yes, you've seen that video too. It's so cringe. Oh my God. The kid's just like, I'm the alpha. And I'm just like, really? Really? You really think you're the alpha kid? Oh, we got 5 likes up there. Let's go on ahead and get a skull ready. But I would have literally reached out to smack the kid. I'm sorry. I know teachers aren't allowed to do that. But if I have kids talking to me like that in my classroom, I'm going to reach out and slap a hoe. Okay? I'm going to reach out and slap a hoe. Yeah, they're way too entitled. I have seen videos of people that looked at a cop and told him, you can't arrest me. I'm a girl. But guess what, sweetie? There's lady prisons too. Skull. So guess what there, little princess? You gonna go to jail. Store a while ago, a kid was throwing a fit. His mom told him that she would brought him into the world. She'd take him out, and he didn't knock it off. Needing to bring back the paddle in schools. There we go, baby. Yes. There we go. Let a few of these kids have a nice good bit of 2x4 across their behind once or twice and see what they think. Yes, I got you there in the UK. Okay, I got you. That's a smart move. Shay, I really do think it is. Why? Because you put the fear of God into the daggum kid. And I ain't even a Christian, but it's a term here in America. But what I'm saying is simply this. You cannot have a generation of undisciplined people. I got paddling for taking up for myself. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Jen. And yeah, I've gotten a few of those myself. What's up, BMC? How you doing, man? Sorry I didn't make it into your live. My dad had me doing something. But guys, the worst thing I've seen is these kids literally think that they can outweigh an adult, that they can. There's 5-year-olds that think that they can beat on cops. There's babies in diapers that are telling their mom, F you. I don't know about you, but if I'd have been in a diaper and I'd have told my mom, F you, I'd have wound up on the other side of the couch from the freaking sheer force of that backhand that was coming my way. Yeah, you can't just paddle kids anymore. Back in the day, discipline was a serious thing. Discipline was needed. Growing up in Northern California in the 80s, and corporal punishment kept me in line. Thank you very much. Shuck, back on up, baby. Go lay down. For right now, go lay down, baby. Shuck, what do you want? Go lay down. Used to get spanked when I was a kid, and I acted. Yeah, you know, everybody's like, it's traumatizing. There's nothing traumatizing about a good old ass whooping. There ain't nothing traumatizing about it except for you got caught. You know, guys, a good old butt whooping usually actually ends up teaching you how to problem solve. Why? Because you learn how to get around it. You know, and it is discipline. It's not abuse. You know, guys, I mean, your butt is the least likely place to get you killed. So, yeah, spanking somebody on the behind. Thanks for the 10th like. What's up, Zay? Straight up scald, guys. So, give me just a second. I'm going to take y'all with me. We're going to go let Shuck out. Wait, Shuck. Be a good boy. Wait. Come on, buddy. Oh, don't get right in front of me, Goofus. I'll run you over. Come on. Come on, buddy. Can y'all watch, buddy?
Yeah, but we found your line.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, all right. Go on, buddy. Buddy, get your butt going back that way. Go. Dogs, guys. Show the dogs. I would, but we were in my dad and my stepmom's room. I'll show my dog when we get outside. Maybe I'll show him later on. Come on, Shuck. Come on, Shuck. And guys, welcome to my front yard. You know, guys, we've worked hard to earn every bit of this. Oh, well, let me, Shuck's taking a pee. Let's leave him some privacy. But yeah, guys, when it comes down to it, we have got such a disrespectful generation that is growing up that can't handle themselves. They can't handle the outside world. They can't handle truth. They can't handle a single few minutes without some kind of stimulation from some kind of video game or something like that. They can't handle it. They can't do it. And because of that, they can't read. Because they can't read, they can't do math. Because they can't do math, you know, and all that crap. We're going to end up having a generation that's going to grow up stupid, a generation that's going to grow up weak, a generation that's going to grow up easily manipulated, that will fall for anything that you tell them is the right thing to do, you know, or is anything that is out of the ordinary, they're going to go for it. And all it's going to take is one country that wants us taken down that figures that out, guys. And when they do, they're going to be sitting back waiting. And I'm terrified for the future of my country. You know, I'm terrified for what's going on in the world right now, guys. We are looking at a rise in violence. We are looking at a rise in murders. We're looking at a rise in domestic violence and, you know, men that are not the fathers of their children that don't want to take care of them because they find out that they ain't their kids, but they got to, you know, they don't want to go through a divorce and pay child support. So they sit back and they deal with it. Come on, Shuck. And they don't want to raise these kids. They're just going to hand them an iPad and let them go on about the business. And guys, this is leading to some serious issues because you want to know what I heard the other day? I heard from a 15-year-old, he doesn't care what if he gets an education or not. All he cares about is a job at McDonald's. Yeah, a job at McDonald's is more important to him than having an education and getting a degree, than being intelligent. All right, he's still in there. Good. No, there's Buddy right there. Nope. Is that you, Molly Wally? Is Buddy in there? All right, cool. I thought he was on the couch for a minute. Your best friend works at McDonald's? Yeah, but these guys are talking about turning McDonald's and Subway and fast food restaurants into careers, guys. Not temporary jobs to get to somewhere where you can be proud of yourself or anything like that. No, these guys are talking about working career full time for McDonald's. And I'm scared for the rest of our country, man, because you got people that don't want to be teachers. You got people that don't want to be soldiers. You got people that don't want to be anything. You know what they want to be? At home, left alone. You know what that leads to? Whoever wants to take this country can walk right in. Hello, O'Doyle. Hello, Caleb. All is well. I'm just having a rant. BP News. What kind of shirt is that? It's not a shirt, buddy. It's a leather breastplate. I have no idea, BP News, but I'm glad it did, man. Anyway, so the way this is going on is we're looking at situations now where we're going to have a rise in violent crimes. We're going to have a rise in gang activity. We're going to have a fall in economics. We're going to see an area where we're going to see the hood grow larger. We're going to see companies go under that are necessary because they can't find workers. We're going to have people that, they're little wannabe gangsters, and it's never a good thing. If you want to sit back and model your life after a criminal, I just enjoy it, man. BP News, I like it. I wear it for the show. It gets some views, But other than that, I train in it. Thank you. But anyway, yeah, they're all spoiled brats, and some of them are worse. Some of them are violent, and this is just one of the biggest situations I've seen that has arisen. Is these kids that think that, oh, well, the cops can't touch me because all I got to do is call police brutality. That ain't how it works there, sugar doll. That's not how it works at all. You're going to get your butt mowed over is what's going to happen. If you think just because you're non-binary, you can't be arrested, you're wrong. If you think just because you're a woman, you can't be arrested, you're wrong. Guys, it's just plain and simple. If you think just because you're a sovereign citizen, you can get away with anything. Guys, that's wrong. What's real and what's true. You break the law, you go to jail. You break the speeding limits, you go to jail. You drive drunk, you go to jail. Guys. And yes, I've heard of furries. I have heard of furries. In fact, I used to hang out with quite a few. But everybody's so entitled and everybody's so wrapped up in entertainment that the only way to get through to these people is to come on a TikTok or to come on a YouTube channel like mine and sit here and rant and rave. And you're only going to get to a few. You ain't going to get to a lot, because if you ain't got a popular opinion, not very many people want to side with you. And the reason being is because they don't want the backlash. And not very many people are brave enough to open their damn mouth. But I'm brave enough to open mine. I'll sit here and I used to fight in these BMC. I used to hang out with some furries too. But when you turn around and you have, yes, I hung out with furries whenever I was in high school. It was a phase I went through. I thought I was a werewolf, but I went through it. I got over it and I moved on in like a year. So I still stayed friends with them because it was interesting and they did like the fact that I made the costumes for them. But it was just something that I did in my youth. It was a phase. But I'm not afraid to admit that, and that's what I'm getting at. These people are afraid to admit when they're wrong. These people are afraid to admit that they're mentally unstable. And when they do admit mentally unstable, then they think it's some kind of badge of courage. Guys, since when has being mentally ill been a fad? I'm telling you right now, as a true diagnosed, deal with it on a regular, everyday, basic schizophrenic. It's not fun. It's not cool. All right? If you don't have a mental illness to the point where you got to come up with one to explain your stupidity, get out of my program. Plain and simple. Don't you dare get put on disability because you want to come up with some kind of made up bullshit as to why you're disabled. I'm tired of people sitting here jumping on my butt telling me I'm not schizophrenic because I'm not running around because I take my medication. You know, just because you have some kind of stigma that's been placed on you through TV and movies and everything like that. Guys, do you realize that one of y'all's favorite characters that everybody loves to cosplay as and everybody loves to talk about, Jinx from Arcania, do you realize she's psychotic? Do y'all realize Harley Quinn, absolutely knucking futz? No lights on upside. They're all broken. More bats in the belfry than Batman. But the whole thing about this is that these kids think it's chic. They think it's okay. They want to have these diseases. They want to be epileptic. They want to be schizophrenic. They want to be disabled for no reason other than a paycheck. And if it ain't kids doing it, it's some of these crazy ass modern day women that want to live off of child support. And guys, that's got to go. I'm sorry. I pay my child support because my kids are mine. But how dare some of these women birth a child that's not their man's and then expect him to take care of it? And then sit back and drain every last ounce of money, dignity, and self-respect that the man has by taking every dime from him to the point where he's dang near homeless. Yes, and epilepsy is absolutely horrible. It hurts a lot. It really does. Every time I have a seizure, it's a terrible thing. Every time I hallucinate, it's horrible. You know, some of you guys have actually seen me start to, and I had to end the show early because I was just too gone, you know, and it was, you know, yeah, I did. Yeah. And still thinks he's, you know, lost and found. You can think whatever you want about me, but I train. I do what I can to try to be the best Viking getter I can be, you know, but I'm limited on resources. So I do what I can, you know, guys. Sir, I claim Vikings because not very many people know what Norse is anymore. You can't sit there and ask a kid to point out Switzerland on a map. He don't know where it's at. Hi, Kristen. You know, and yes, my dog does sense when I'm about to have a seizure. Yes, I will make a breastplate whenever I have the leather, but I don't have the leather at the moment. So hi to you, Kristen. Oh, yeah. Adriana, welcome in. Or Adrian, welcome in. So, yes, there's just this entire world going on right now of craziness. There's an entire, I would say, cultural barrier, but it's literally an intellect barrier. It's literally a barrier of straight intelligence. We have got a generation of ding-dongs. We've got a generation of losers. We've got a slacker generation. You know, America is facing implosion. We are facing serious consequences for our actions, guys. We have let things go way too far. We have let things happen so much that we're not going to recover. We're going to have to let these kids grow up. We're going to have to let them rule for a little while. Guys, do you know how scared I am? We're like this close to idiocracy. What's going to happen when I am fucking 80, man? I'm going to have somebody take care of me. And it's going to have to be one of these crazy fucks. No, thank you. You know, it's just, I never thought I'd ever say I was ready to leave America. I never thought I would ever say I was ready to disappear off the face of this planet where nobody could find me ever again. I never thought that would happen again. Yet here I sit, wanting to literally leave this planet. Not by stupid means, but to literally just leave, you know. And you know, they say Generation Z was the last decent generation, but it's Generation Z that is raising Generation Alpha, and they're the worst. Like, when a 12-year-old child assaults his teacher with a chair to the point where she has to go to an emergency room over being asked to use his math book instead of his cell phone, there's a problem. When an entire classroom of kids assault a teacher and the whole classroom has to get put in this ISS crap, which when I was a kid, we had detention. And if you were in detention, your teacher was pissed because she was not getting paid for that amount of time that she had to sit there with you. Sup, Adrian? And the fact that they got to sit there with you for that long, you know, is just insanity without getting any kind of pay. Have you seen what a teacher gets paid, guys? Have you seen what a first responder gets paid? Have you seen what a police officer gets paid? Guys, it ain't that fucking much. You know who makes more money? Fast food. Something that literally destroys our bodies, makes us fat, makes us depressed, makes more money than the people who keep us safe, makes more money than the people who teach the next generation. You know, guys, this is appalling. And the educational thing is happening all over here in America. When I was in school, I remember a student broke my PE teacher's leg. The teacher wouldn't work anymore, lost his job while the kid couldn't continue being educated. And you see, every last one of those students who assaulted that teacher, an elderly teacher, and put her in a home. They literally trashed her, you know. And I found this little news clipping in Florida. I don't know if it's true or not, but they literally beat her almost. They put her in an ICU, you know. And this was a bunch of 7th graders. There was just fists flying everywhere, according to the teacher. When that happens, every last one of those students should have been expelled. Every last one of those students should have been expelled. You know what happened? They got ISS and they went right back to class. They minor discipline for physical assault. What's up, Tracy? Yeah, there was fights in my school too. Sounds believable for Florida, to be honest. Yeah, I get you there. But then we have this baby trapping parental fraud thing. You know, oh, I remember you, Tracy. But we have this baby trapping parental fraud crap that's going on. You know, I'm sorry, guys. I don't want any more mods. I got too many. But, you know, this crap where women will have 4 or 5 kids and then divorce the guy and then turn around and wait 18 years until the last one's old enough. And then they'll turn around and tell the man, oh, by the way, they weren't yours the whole damn time. You know, I don't know if Penguin is in here, man. But the fact that they will take everything away from a man, all of his hard-earned money, all of his equity, all of his assets, everything like that, so they can live without a job. It's appalling. It's deplorable. You know, I thank God I found one of the last good women on the planet. Thank you, my Jen, for being such a gem. You know, but you're absolutely beautiful. You're a great woman. You know, guys, you know, I have a lot of guys that would sit there and tell me why you with her. But you want to know why I'm with her? Because she's loyal, she's kind, she's caring, and she's not a Karen. You know, she's totally yes, both get punished if they hit back. Exactly. All right, see you later, Adrian. See you, same in the UK. All right, I got you. What's wrong, Tracy? Yeah, Karens. Karens are awful. I think it's bad teaches people they can't stand up for themselves. They can stand up for themselves, but you can stand up for yourself in the right way. But you can take care of yourself in the right way there. But the horrible thing about this is we're raising a generation of people that are supposed to be running this country. We're raising a generation of people that are supposed to be smart enough to do brain surgery, to build planes, to fly planes, but they can't even read. They can't write. They don't care. They'd rather go work on the internet for free. They'd rather be a YouTuber. You know, I do this stuff out of necessity, guys, not out of want to. I am what I am because I had to be. Yeah, I did hit somebody with a burrito. You know, I got assaulted with a Baja Blast, got thrown in my face, right in my eyes, wide open. And I didn't feel like calling the cops, and I automatically reacted. I reached down, grabbed a burrito, and slapped her in the face with it. But, you know, equal rights, you going to sit there and call for equal rights, you're going to get equal fights. You know, and that's just going to be true all around America. If you're sitting there and calling for equal rights, get ready for a bunch of people to get knocked the hell out. And that's just truth. It's already happening. Guys, the videos are all over YouTube. They're all over TikTok. You know, women assaulting men and men just laying them out. You know, that's equal rights. Because guess what happens when a man assaults another man? He gets laid the hell out. Or he does the laying out. You know, and it's just, it's one of the worst things I've ever seen is this generation that's growing up thinking that one gender is invincible, the other gender is worthless, and everybody's separated, and there's now not two genders but 75 or however many they want to claim that there are, and there's no longer just LGBT. You know, what happened to lesbian, gay, and bi and LGBT? You know, whatever happened to just that? When did we have LGBTQ plus I-999 G10 12 whatever? You know, it's just some of these people are just mentally ill. And trust me, mental illness recognizes mental illness. We know when somebody else is crazy or not. Why? Because our crazy wants to compete with their crazy. So we know when somebody's a little Looney Tune. And trust me, most of these people I've been watching are either Looney Tune, narcissistic, or straight up evil. You know, guys, and I don't normally say that about people, but I've been seeing a lot of videos of some people that I would call straight up evil. Like the woman who literally sat there and said child support was not for her kids. It was compensation for her wasting money on her kids. Really? Clint, could you tell us a story about how you got those rings? You definitely showed them. Well, all right. This one, I got you there, Jin Jin. This one, which is supposed to represent flames, this is steel and fire, basically on there. This is to represent me being a blacksmith. You know, working with my favorite two things, steel and fire. Of course, I've got Green Lantern because it takes extreme willpower to be able to overcome the problems of schizophrenia and epilepsy. So I wear a Green Lantern ring to remind me that not only can I overcome great fear through my schizophrenia, but I can also overcome great pain through my own willpower. What's up, Dirty 30? And then, of course, the Mjolnir is simply because that's religious, guys. You know, I wear that because I am a child of Odin, and I will always be a son of Odin. And then, of course, the Manhood Band, you know, which has got Yarmungandr inscribed all the way around it. Yes, I know who Hephaestus is, Shay. So what's up, Dirty 30? How you doing, brother? You know, but everybody welcome in. You know, we got about 14 minutes left, but I'm just going to finish this out before we actually go on ahead and take and just get to a small little hangout session for a minute, because I accidentally yapped longer than I thought. But I've been a little pissed, sitting in my chair, watching some of this stuff go on. I'm just like, is this really my country? Is this where I was raised? Is this what I saw growing up? Is this what our forefathers want us to be? Is this what this country was founded for? To fall apart in 200 to 300 years? Because that's what we're doing. We're falling apart. And we can't blame anybody else but ourselves. Yeah, I have been spitting facts. Thank you. I've been trying to spit facts anyway. I'm hoping they're right. Thank you very much, KK. I just had a little rant. There isn't no more fights or bullying that stuff you in the trash can. They'll humiliate you in front of all your friends on their phone. Yeah. They'll turn around and they'll slide the phone up underneath the daggum bathroom and film you while you're taking a piss and then laugh about the size of your wiener. When they ain't got one not much bigger. So what? What's the problem? The problem is you a bunch of degenerate, disrespectful little SOBs and you need your ass whooped a lot. Emotional stuff is worse than physical sometimes, definitely. Now, BMC, I'm not saying you are, man. There are always exceptions to these rules, just so you guys know. It's all emotional now, Shay. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. But I'm going to say this. If you got bullies on you, stand up for yourself. Fight for yourself. We got 15 likes. Let's give another scald. There's my drinking horn. Here's to that 15th like. Thank you so much. But I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to say this. It takes a lot of courage to sit up here knowing you might piss off more than half the country at you. Takes a lot of courage for a lot of these teachers to be like, I'm going to give up on my degree and walk out on these kids when it's all they've ever wanted to do. It takes a lot of courage to stand up there, put your hand on your chest, and take that oath of being a soldier because you're going to possibly go off and die. It takes a lot of courage to do that as an officer too. Because you could get shot in the line of duty. You never know what's going to happen. But know this. There's more strength in you than you realize. So make sure that you keep that strength fed. Make sure you keep the courage and the discipline to continue to be a decent human being. Because, guys, otherwise, everything falls into ruin. And right now, we're watching it go down. Just like what happened to the Romans, just like what happened to the Greeks, just like what happened to the Ottomans and the Egyptians. Once you get so far and you start letting your society dictate what goes on. No, people don't get wedgies and stuff anymore. Now it's you're going home with a busted lip, a black eye, and possibly a stab wound. It's getting really violent. Yes, and history is repeating itself again now with us. There's only one nation I can think of who has kept their system perfectly fine the way it is, and that's majority of Europe. Majority of Europe. My people's home country of Sweden, they are very stable. They're very happy. They have very little crime. They don't have anything as far as racism goes. And they have some wonderful people there. They have happy lives. Why can't we do that here? Why can't we bring that here? Kim Jong-un. Oof. We have a huge problem with knives. Yes, with knife crime, definitely. I mean, I make knives. Guys, this is going to make it to where if they start banning knives, there goes my job. I can't make what I make anymore. You know, because I make knives, I make swords, I make axes. That's what I do. I hammer steel. I am a blacksmith. You take that away from me, and there goes all I'm left with is making you some walking sticks and hoping those sell. You know, and it's not easy. It's not easy. It's hard. It's rough. It's dirty. You get sawdust and metal shavings all over you everywhere all day long. You're hot. You're sweaty. You know, it's hard work. And I love it. Yeah, you can barely talk about God in school anymore. Yes, I can always make tools. But who wants to buy handmade tools? Everybody wants machine-made tools. They don't want handmade stuff. Unless it's a hammer or a chisel. You know, but I can make some chisels and stuff like that, yeah. But they're not going to sell as much as the knives. And it's because nobody's going to want to spend $1,000 on a Damascus steel chisel. Except if it's a personal order, you know. So I got to look at what sells in my country. And what sells in my country is guns, knives, and swords. You know, that sells a lot, especially in Texas. Guns, knives, and swords is like the staple of everybody's household. You know, hell, a lot of people's entire lives revolve around their gun collections around here, which I think is a little redonkulous. But, you know, I got my own collection, but I'm happy with. And some of my stuff in my collection is a little goofy. Like I have a lightsaber, you know, and I enjoy my lightsaber. But I just dropped my horn right in my trash can. Guess who's not drinking any more out of that? Nice to see you're back there, Raymond. We got about 7 minutes left there, Bubba. And I got to take and go check on something real quick in the living room. I got food cooking, so I'll be right back. These are going to be so good. I got some nice big old pork ribs from last year's kill. Oh, it's going to be awesome. They're nice and tender and juicy. Oh, it's going to be so good. Now I'm just waiting for the vegetables to caramelize around it. Just had to call your mom? All right, I got you, man. You ever seen guns in the UK? The only time I've ever seen one is armed police. They aren't that common. Yeah, I got you. Man, around here, you go down the road and you're going to see a gun. In fact, I've got 4 of them in my room right now. What's up, Get Hacked? I've got 4 of them in my room right now. One of which is right up underneath me. Send you some guns. You know, Jin, I might let you shoot my 410 one day. See how it does for your shoulder. But it's the Hacked channel. You know, speaking of hacked, guys, I got to apologize. My Cash App got hacked. All the money we had saved up for the charity is gone. Every bit of it. So I've got to restart, which is unfortunate. Yes, all $15, unfortunately. I don't know why they wanted to just steal $15, but they stole all $15. So, went kaput. Yeah, I wasn't getting any more donations anyway. So, I'm just going to end up saving up $400 myself and sending it to Africa for Miss Eunice and her school. So I'm just going to end up doing it on my own. I called Chime. They said they could refund $4. And that's it. So they can't refund the whole 15. I don't know why they can't refund 15, but they can't refund no more than $4. I don't know who I was dealing with, but I kind of feel like they were playing me. But I'm just gonna give them the money myself, and that's unfortunate. I really thought there was a little bit more love in this community than there was. There was quite a few people that donate, and I thank those that did. But those that didn't, well, it's okay. I'll go on ahead and cover your share. Guys, and the sad part about it is I'm making myself go broke in order to do this. But I made a promise, and I'm going to deliver on that promise. So that's what's just going to happen. But anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for showing up. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I'm probably going to go on ahead and end it tonight. Kind of a little emotionally drained after that rant. And just thinking about the simple fact that the charity didn't get off the ground. The Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum are not actually becoming a thing is kind of depressing. I've worked my butt off for it, and it started to do good, and I failed it at every turn because I just didn't know what I was doing. And it's just flopped. So the Knights of the Holy Rose Sanctum are just a group now. We're no longer a charity. And it's just because I'm no good at it. So there's nothing wrong with admitting that you failed. Yeah, I tried. I tried my butt off, but couldn't get nothing. So I'm just going to give them the $200 myself, and I'm going to give the $200 to my uncle's charity myself. And I'm probably going to go on ahead and cancel this stupid Cash App. What's up, Sharky? Yeah, I understand that's how you learn, but this isn't the first, 5th, or even 19th time I failed at trying to create this charity. This is pretty close to the 50th time. And what's the main definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again and getting the same result. So I'm not going to continue to get the same result. I'm just going to give the money myself. What's up, Alan? How you doing, brother? Sorry, guys, but, y'all are all coming in at the very end of the show. But, like 17. Yeah, I know. But it says only 16 on my screen. I don't know why. That's another stupid thing. YouTube's numbers are never right. I don't know which ones I can trust. But anyway, guys, want to say that I love you all. Y'all take great good care of yourselves. And, one of the greatest things that I can ever leave you guys with is simply this. Remember, look to your fellow man to see how your behavior is. If you're acting a fool, you will be around fools. If you act worldly and knowledgeable, you will be around men of the world. You will be around intelligent people. But the fool only dreams, while the worldly man succeeds. So remember that, guys. Check you all later.